Hey y'all, it's Andy from Aquariums Maintained by Andy. Today we're going to talk about algae. Where does it come from, how do we control it, and all that good stuff. So stay tuned. Okay, so the first thing I'd like to do is talk about the misconceptions of algae. The first one is that algae is unhealthy. That is not true. Algae is actually a sign that all your biological processes are in place to break down the waste in your tank, which is a good thing. It is not necessarily indicative of your tank being cycled, but it is a helpful thing in your tank to help keep the water clean and the animals healthy. Another misconception about algae is that you can go out and buy an animal that will keep your tank free of algae, such as a Plecostomus, certain snails, shrimp, etc., etc. That is not the case. No animals can ensure that your tank will be clean of algae all the time. The only way to do that is make sure you check your levels, your ammonia, your nitrate, your phosphate, and all that kind of stuff, to make sure that all of your levels are where they need to be to keep the algae from growing. And lastly, another misconception about algae is that your tank catches algae. Algae is not a virus, it is not a disease, it is a plant. Straight up, algae is a plant, and it will do plant things. So as long as it has the nutrients and the light, it's going to do what it does. There are many types of algae, both saltwater and freshwater. We're not going to go over all of them because it would just be a very long video. We're just going to kind of go over some high points. And now we're going to talk about products that help kill algae. There are several. I'm not going to go down the list of those either. I do not like to use those. I have used them in the past and I've been successful with them, but they are basically just a band-aid until you can fix what's actually wrong with your tank. And what could be wrong with your tank? Of course, once again, the ammonia, the phosphate, and nitrate. Too much light, too much food, all that kind of stuff. So what can you do to help prevent algae in your aquarium? Well, number one, proper maintenance. Do your water changes. Do your water tests. Make sure your water is where it needs to be, because whenever you have an algae outbreak or an algae bloom, I guess is a better way to say it, it is a sign that something is off in your tank, and until you get it fixed, it will not ever go away. Another thing that you can do for your aquarium is to buy certain animals that eat algae. Freshwater and saltwater, there's a long list of each one. But these will not keep your tank clean. You still have to do your proper maintenance and your manual cleaning if needed. And now we're going to go over to the whiteboard. I'm going to show you an analogy that I've been working on, and hopefully that'll help some people understand algae, where it comes from, and how to control it. So the analogy that I'm working on is I'm trying to make algae akin to fire. So in order to have fire, you have to have three things. You got to have fuel, you got to have spark, and you got to have a flame. If you take either one of those three things away, you have no fire. Well, algae kind of works in the same way. So what we have here is we have the spark. We have the fuel, which would be the wood. The wood would be the fuel. And then we have the flame. So all of these three things are happening right now, and you have a fire. So in your aquarium, you have your light, and then you have your fuel, this will be algae. So in your tank, you have your light, you have poop, which would be your fuel, and then you have algae. If you have an abundance of algae, either you have too much light or you have too much nutrients in your tank. Or either you have too many phosphates, ammonia, or nitrate. All of those things. So you have to get your chemistry right, you got to get your lights right, you got to get your nutrient level right, which means proper feeding and proper stocking. And once you have your tank set up right with your proper feeding, proper stocking, the correct amount of light, the algae will typically go away. And of course, this means you still have to do your maintenance. Sometimes you still have to manually remove algae, your water changes, filter changes, and all that good kind of stuff. Well, that's about all I got. I'm sure that I left a lot out. I mean, algae is such a wide topic. So hopefully I helped somebody, and if y'all have any questions, leave them in the comments below. I sure appreciate y'all's time. Thank you.